Today we're doing a true ColecoVision test. Previously I ran this with a very unorthodox method of injecting the ROM and the BIOS into a Game Boy Advance compatible ROM, and I'd run that with the Game Boy Advance core. And the program I used was Clone. But the problem is that emulation and sound were not very accurate compared to the true ColecoVision system that came out years ago. But I'm going to show you how they did run on this method compared to the way they run now with the more accurate core that I pretty much got running. So we're going to test out Donkey Kong as our first game, and this is using the Game Boy Advance method of injecting the core. You notice right off the bat you have flickering on the screen. Lots of flicker, and text is pretty bad, hard to read as well. The sound is very off. Now we're going to try a few of these other games that have been running here. You notice that the numbers are very difficult to read right now. We'll try some of the other ones that I injected using Clone, and Clone was a very, very cool way of doing it without having an actual ColecoVision core, so I do appreciate the work that went into it, but the accuracy of the emulation it's just hard to work with. We have Star Wars the arcade game. And let's see how accurate this is. Again, we have the bad text that's hard to read. And the game outright froze on me. So we had a problem there. When the game does run, it tends to have flickering and such. And we'll try two more, and then we'll do the prime examples of more accurate emulation. We'll try Smurf Rescue. And that one doesn't load. So compatibility is not up that high either. We'll try Chuck Norris Super Kicks. Crazy flickering. You can see the text at the bottom is really, really flickering bad. How could you go wrong with a Chuck Norris game? I mean, now let's see what else we have. We have one more test game. And again, this is using the Game Boy Advance method right now. We're going to move over to the more accurate one in a minute here. This is Cabbage Patch Kids Adventures in the Park. And this is actually very, very similar to a Pitfall style game. Again with the flickering. And I do respect and appreciate the amount of work that was put into getting Clone to work with Game Boy Advance. I mean, it's phenomenal. It is what it is. But having a more accurate way of doing it is also great. Okay, we're going to move on to the more accurate emulation now. And we'll do them in the same order that I loaded these. We'll try Donkey Kong first. It's an entirely different core. I am not using Game Boy Advance for this one. The flickering is no longer present. The sound is 100% better. I'm very impressed with how accurate this emulation is. Good sound, good video. Now let's try the three other games and see how they fare. I believe we tried Star Wars, the arcade game, as our second test game on Clone. We're going to try it on here and see how it works. Much better. And the analog is actually functioning quite well for this. Now if you play the one on ColecoVision, that flashing that you see on the screen when you get hit, it's like non-stop to the point of not being able to even play it. It's just, the emulation is not very accurate as far as that. And we got 2 more test games here. There's going to be a little surprise bonus at the end of this video. We get another thing along with the accurate, should I say more accurate, ColecoVision emulation here. We'll try Smurf Rescue again, using the better core. And there I go in the first second. And I had it set to 2 players, of course, accidentally. And this is one of those games where you have to tap the up button to jump, so it gets a little bit awkward at times, but if you play enough of those games, it works out well. We have Chuck Norris. Test that one out. No flickering at the bottom of the screen. Yep, running quite nicely here. And we got one more test game, then I'm going to go to the little added bonus here. We'll do the Cabbage Patch Kids Adventures in the Park on the better core. And this, along with Atari 5200, were they were both the most requested cores for me to try to get working over the last year. Good music, good sound, no flickering, everything's good here. And again, this is a lot like Pitfall. This game is also made by Konami. And I've always loved even Konami back as far as the beginning of its roots. I mean, they've always made quality games. Now, the bonus part of this video is not only do you get the more accurate ColecoVision emulation, but you're also going to get more accurate MSX emulation, which is a Konami system, by the way. So we could run MSX games on here too. And one that did not run too well on the FMSX core was Druid. It runs exceptionally well on here. Very accurate. And I've tried this on Famicom Disk System. I've tried it on here. A few other cores, and it's just hard to find a good, accurate representation of this game that's playable, and this is the best one I found using this new core that I got running. And of course, any that may or may not be familiar with MSX would know that they have some quality games like the true Metal Gear 1 and 2 on there. But Druid's running without flickering. It's a good game. Check it out. And we got Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, and we're going to run it on the same core. And if you're wondering what core I'm running this on, I am officially running this on Blue MSX. And it's going to require a special BIOS setup, which will be also posted in my core set when I update it today. And this runs for both ColecoVision and MSX, and I did 2 distinctly different BIOS setups, one for just the ColecoVision and one for all the MSX games. And you could also run Snatcher, the disc version of it now, using this. The disc version did not properly run on the mini NES, mini SNES, using FMSX core, but you can run it on this blue MSX core. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. You can now play really accurate emulation for both ColecoVision as well as MSX. And it'll be posted to my core set today. Enjoy.